Welcome back, everybody, to the Card Chatter with Refractor Jones and Bobbles and Ball Cards. Hope you've had a wonderful week. This will be Friday's episode. We are clicking along at episode number 24. This gives us a full 8 weeks now. It is late on Thursday evening recording this. We both have let the week get by us, and we were like, oh crap, we got to get Friday's episode up. So we're going to hit this up for you guys and hopefully make it as entertaining as possible, but also a bit educational and, fun and all of that and to the point. As always, we like to start off the episode with giving a shout out to Mason and Mason's mission. To anyone out there that has, been able to help the cause, we do really appreciate it. Mason appreciates it. And the money that will, that goes towards Mason's mission goes towards helping other youth who battle pediatric cancer as well as their families. So it's a really awesome thing. And Mason, shout out to you, man. It's awesome that you do this. So, Refractor, I know we don't have any visitors this evening, no phone calls. That was a fun episode. Those who listened, I hope you understood that was all just in good fun. Wasn't many comments on it. I don't know if people were confused or scared to comment or what, but wasn't much comments. But it was fun.
You won.
I know. I see.
Obviously, you won.
There we go. See. But anyway, no, it was just fun, all in good fun. Just trying to have some fun with the hobby, and so anyway, we don't have any kind of script. This is kind of, for the most part, sometimes we'll have topics. We're just gonna have a conversation this evening. Don't know how long we'll go tonight, being that it is very late. We're last minute doing this, but we did want to continue providing you guys the podcast and ear candy. We're going to call it ear candy for you to enjoy. So, how's your week been, Refractor?
Good. Busy and busier.
Busy and busier?
Yep. Like
well,
dumb and dumb. Like dumb and dumber.
Yeah, dumber.
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel you though, man. This week got away from me. Like we were discussing before we went live here. I didn't realize that, it was already Thursday. Obviously, I had the order come back. I had an order I shipped out Monday. Lots of, we got the pricing change going on, trying to prepare for that. Chantilly show's coming up as well. Hockey season started. Playoff baseball's in full swing. It's been a crazy week. So, but anyway, let's talk a little bit about the hobby.
Sure.
Something I tossed out to you before we hit record here. I was going to do it on my channel, and there's been so many videos out there. I will admit I probably haven't caught all of them, but Mike Baseball Collector, he did a video a while back. I'm guessing it's been almost 2 weeks now, talking about hobby pet peeves, and there's been a lot of response to it. Some people have had some really good points. I know I haven't gotten to watch them all. I was going to do one. I, again, didn't get around to it. And I also kind of didn't want to, just repeat things that others were saying, I guess. And I knew I didn't listen to them all. So what's been your thoughts on it? Let's start off. What are pet peeves of yours? Let's start off that way.
Ooh, wow. I guess, your pet peeves makes you kind of opinionated, and, what people say about you having an opinion sometimes is not good to have an opinion. But I think my biggest pet peeve is that people are always judging others before they even look at themselves. That's probably my biggest pet peeve in the hobby itself. A lot of people treat this hobby as life and death instead of treating it for what it really is, enjoyment and stuff. So that's probably my biggest pet peeve, man. And then as far as the pet peeve end on the manufacturing end and companies and stuff like that, they really need to have special panels and special boards to where they can bring in hobbyists and bounce ideas off of them, and really talk to them, and really do due diligence for the hobby versus just assuming we're going to suck down whatever they throw at us, even though we tend to do that anyway. So that's
Yeah,
it.
I I don't want to get into too deeply on it, and I know I've had moments, and oddly enough, it almost seems like people have enjoyed it. But I've had
Hmm.
moments where I've gotten on and I might had to blow off some steam, and I might have came across very strong, over on my channel and have done like a venting or rant or something like that. And it's
Yeah.
crazy the response when you do that because it's almost like the support comes out heavily when you just let go and just speak your mind. But at the same time, it's like when it's fun, sometimes you don't get the comments or the views. It's like
Yeah.
people want to hear that drama or that rage, that built up rage.
Right.
And but then you'll hear on the flip side that people are being negative or that there's a lot of this back and forth at each other right now, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
It's all
and
tit for tat.
I don't really know what it's coming from. Like, even when I have been on and done a video personally over on my channel that may have brought attention to something that someone else said, or even call something out that someone else did. Like, I'll use the video about Neo. When he came to and talked about time is money kind of thing. That
Hmm.
was actually, I don't think I presented it well enough, but that was actually supposed to come off in more of a fun tone than it did, because it was almost like that's why the whole, like, the little, thumbnail with the mic drop or whatever, it
Yeah.
was like, finally, it was kind of like this moment for me that finally the things that I had been saying, the guy that had like debated heavily with me was finally agreeing with it. So it was like this emotional moment that I got to finally say, "You get it," right? It was like, all
Sure.
along I've been saying this and now you get it. So it wasn't like even to be calling him out or be negative. It was just I meant to try to do it in a fun tone. And but even that video, it got a heavy response. And it's weird. You do something that's informative, or you do something collector based, that sort of thing. And it's almost like people don't want to see it at
Right.
times. There's some people out there that do enjoy it, but it's almost like the drama. And we've talked about this before, so I'm
Yeah.
not going down any path that we've not walked on. But it's weird because it's a lot of it right now. And I don't know if it's because there's no products to get excited over, there's no cards going up, there's no charts to show where somebody can get rich on. I mean, what do you think it is? Like, why is it so much back and forth? Because quite honestly, I'm having a lot of fun in the hobby right now. I mean,
Yeah. A lot of people lead by fuel. They need that fuel to the fire to just to keep them going. It's their form of entertainment. And I mean that was one of those things that I was worried about with our last episode that I did, because I didn't want to come off as a butthole. And and
and we
and
were
of
just
course
doing
I
it for fun.
right, yeah, and I was concerned with that because that's not me. I don't do stuff like that. But I did it for, just to do our thing. But it at the same time, I mean, I felt like, damn, I listened to about 10 minutes of it just to see what it sounded like. I shut it off. I did. I shut it off because I was like, man, I, Refractor's an a-hole. You know what? That's
No,
exactly what I said. And I was
I
like,
don't
nope,
know.
I don't even want to hear it anymore. So,
I don't know if you read the whole description part of it, but I did make sure in there to put that this wasn't like to crap on or poo poo on either side or either company or either person or anybody
yeah,
that we talked about in there. It wasn't to you know put them down or anything like that. That was all purely in fun. So if anybody took it out of context, it was all right there, and it literally
Yeah.
was just two guys having fun, actually trying to throw a little bit of laughter into it. That's like the whole Chicago dog thing, and where I said I was gonna,
Yeah.
shove it, and we just started busting out laughing. Right? It
Yep.
was just all in like when you said don't laugh, I was legit laughing at you. Like that
I know.
wasn't part of the little play there. I was legit laughing at you because I was having fun.
I know.
Um,
Yeah.
so hopefully other people did see that. I don't think anybody took
Yeah.
offense to it. I haven't heard anything. You said you hadn't heard anything, so but no,
No, I didn't. So it was good. So I was, because truly I was concerned. I was like, okay, well, I was trying to be a sarcastic a-hole, at times, there, but I felt
right.
like, that's what it was going to take for
In terms
PSA.
in terms of the pet peeve thing, you know, I haven't watched everybody's, and I'm sure some of the stuff is like minor little things that it's someone's pet peeve, and I'm sure some of it's a bit more deeper than that. I
Hmm.
would say something for me that might surprise people, and that this is a silly pet peeve, but I don't like when people like if I buy a card on eBay, I don't like that they tape the top loader. I don't care if it's scotch tape, I don't care if it's painter's tape. I despise tape on the top loader. I put it in a little team bag or, whatever. I don't know. I hate tape on the top loader. So that's something where most people are like, "You're stupid, it would slide out," or whatever. I don't like it. So that's a prime example of what you said. You know, Having pet peeves is kind of like being opinionated because that's my opinion, but it's not
Hmm.
meaning that everybody else has to agree with that opinion. I
Yeah.
just don't like it.
Sure.
Um, and I think that's fair. I think there's some folks that have done videos talking about ways to hobby and that there's no proper way to hobby.
Yeah.
I think that's a fair assessment too.
Yeah.
I think that's why this is a hobby, is
Yeah.
because there's unlimited amount of ways to go about it.
Yeah. Thank goodness there is, because then you can always get rid of stuff that you don't like because somebody else will.
Right, right, exactly. Yeah, you know, I found it interesting because me and you had this conversation, and I told you, I wanted to trim down the fat a bit in my collection,
Mhm.
and I've been hearing more and more people. I don't know if this is just it's that time, like maybe certain collectors are like, "Hey, there's some buying opportunity out there. Things have settled down a bit. Maybe I can let some stuff go. There's buying opportunities for something I may have wanted for a long time, but I need to, part with a few things first." Um, I watched a live last night. It was with Elite Hunters, and I don't know if you watched him, but Orlando, A Collector's Dream. He's got some really awesome stuff, and he was
Mhm.
even saying that he's thinking about selling off a lot of what he owns and just keeping a top 100. And my reply to that was, man, if I only went down to 100, I would have a lot of selling to do. I don't think, even though I'm like trimming the fat, I don't think I could narrow my collection down to 100 cards, or even just like even cards I don't have plus cards that I do have. I don't think I could get it to 100.
Yeah, I don't think I could trim my 300,000 plus refractors down. I mean,
Yeah, it,
I,
it
it's
would
just not
be it would be
not going to
difficult.
happen. Yeah, it's not going to happen because I love commons from a common to a star. They're all fantastic to me. So,
Yeah, I mean, you basically bundle refractor as one.
yeah, yeah,
That would be one.
yeah, yeah. It's the way I just look at them. They're no different. A refractor's a refractor. I don't care whether it's a common or a star. You know.
Yeah. But no, I'm kind of with you. Do you think that some of this back and forth is associated more because of social media and because of the YouTube space and the content space and all that? Do you think the hobby would be as, I don't want to use the word negative, but
Controversial,
grouchy?
probably.
We'll go with
Yeah,
grouchy. Do you think the hobby
yeah.
would be as grouchy if there wasn't as much like content and social media presence as it is in it?
No, No, it really wouldn't be. I mean, that's why, that's why the good old thing called being a keyboard warrior is out there. People say a lot of things back behind a camera or behind a keyboard, and they would never dare to say in front of someone. So,
Yeah,
I,
I was curious about that because I kind of feel the same way. I
mhm,
think overall, and we've had discussions not only just in previous, episodes, but we've also had it privately. I've spoken with other folks like JJ and Sean and JD and, other people in the community, Scott, Nats, man, all those guys. Um, I think the hobbies actually, even though there's so much out there about, like, I watched a video today. It was a guy at the Vegas show, and he was like there at the show on Saturday and said there was like nobody there. And then
mhm,
after that, a video came on, and a guy was like, yeah, there was people that didn't even show up who had reserved tables to, this was a different show up in the Northeast. And the guy was like, yeah, people didn't even like fill the whole show up. They reserved tables that didn't even show up. And there's like a lot of negativity about that out there. But at the same time, I think there's still a lot of people excited in the hobby and like they're finding ways to enjoy it.
yeah. I mean,
And again,
I
that goes
am.
back.
I'm still going to be a collector at the end of the day, whether the market is up or the market is down. It doesn't affect me either way.
Right. I mean, and whether you're a collector or a dealer or a flipper or whatever, I think there's still people in all segments that are still excited because there's opportunity there now. Like
Sure.
now that things have settled, there's opportunity there. And
Hmm.
the shows may not be, I, they may not be as attended as they used to be, but there's also, I feel, there's a lot more shows out there than there used to be as well.
There
So,
is.
if there's only 5 Walmarts, in a town, and then you throw 50 Walmarts in a town, well, then they're gonna, the
Yep.
audience is gonna spread out, right?
Sure.
And I think it's a similar thing with card shows. Is there is a lot more than, I mean, I ran into a guy, I think it was Tuesday
Hmm.
at Walmart. Didn't even know who the guy was, but he was looking at wax. He was an older gentleman, and he's like, "Yeah, I run the bar and restaurant on the other side of town, and we've been hosting trade nights. I don't know if you knew about it." And I was like, "Nope,
Oh,
sure didn't." And
wow.
it's like this small bar and restaurant that's been running trade nights apparently every like third Tuesday of the month or something like that. So,
Well, that's cool.
there's a lot more stuff going on. And I think the audience it's kind of like the selling platforms. There's a lot of people that talk about this platform gets better foot traffic than another platform. Something will sell better here than it will there. And it's
Yep.
true. When you start spreading the pie around or slicing it up, you get smaller pieces. And so, if you have you cut 6 pieces out of a pie, it's going to be a larger piece. Same way with shows. If you have less shows, more attendance is going to be there. If you have more, people are going to start spreading out. So, um, but I think there's still people having a lot of fun. So,
Yeah. For the most part, people still are going to go to a show, if they can afford to spend some money. The big thing is in the hobby now, everybody's so vocally and concerned with is, hey, where's the market going to go? And is the market going to recover? Instead of just saying, hey, worry about your collection and make your collection a better collection. That's it. The recovery will always be there. I mean, cards go up, cards go down. It's just a never ending cycle. That's why I've never been hyper focused on the dollar amount. It doesn't mean anything to me.
could it be? Could it be because so many things that are looked at, and again, I don't care if a person's a dealer, a seller, a flipper, or whatever, but sports cards became a pretty heavy side hustle.
It did.
And right now, if you look, the stock market's down, crypto's down. So many things are down. Could
Yeah,
it just be
everything.
like this area? The sports cards are now down, and people have lost money. And for a while, it was a pretty good side hustle. It was pretty easy to make a lot of money really quickly, easily on it.
Hmm.
Do you think that's part of it? Like that
Well,
just
yeah, I
folks
mean,
aren't able to
ev-
make that revenue, that income?
yeah, because there's no more just throwing paint on a wall and watching it stick. It's like, hey, you got to work to make your money now, and that's fine. Work the hobby and make it an advantage to you, because there are still equal and easier ways to make money in this hobby instead of trying to make that fast dollar. The fast dollar burns away really quick. It comes and goes. The slow roll, you'll always make money.
I
Hopefully that.
actually recorded an episode, and I didn't expect many people were going to watch it, but I thought it would be fun with hockey season starting, and I really enjoy it. I have the hockey game on right now, actually, and I put up a bunch of my cool hockey cards in the backdrop tonight. But I did an episode yesterday, and I called it "Puck and Flip It." And I did it because just have some fun, not necessarily that I'm selling any of the cards I showed in the well, I did show one sale I had and how it compared from an SGC to a PSA sale. But I was more showing that like there's opportunities in hockey cards, but I know not many people enjoy hockey cards. They don't enjoy the sport. They don't understand the sport. They don't want to deal with, maybe an international buyer or whatever. Um,
Hmm.
I love hockey, and there is opportunities there. If I was telling some folks yesterday, I was like, I might have actually found like if I wanted to be a flipper, I might have found the sport that I am very good at because I've not been in it for long, but I'm pretty good at picking out, like, players and stuff like that, and, I
I
showed
think that
a card
I think
I
I think that
I
kind of
picked
makes
up
you
for
a better dealer. You know that, because you're not really emotionally invested and emotionally attached. So you're able to sit there and go, okay, hey, I can pick this guy, pick that guy, do this and do that, and actually make some
yeah,
money in that, instead of being so emotionally invested into it that you're like, oh no, I don't want to get rid of it. Right.
and I've talked about that before. I've talked about, like, even when I go to a show, I struggle to get into the mindset because when I'm at a show, I wanna buy cards that I want versus cards that I see opportunity in. So I do mentally struggle with that at a show because I'm like, all right, I got this much money with me, but I want to use that money to buy cards I want. And
Sure.
so I don't focus on the other opportunities there. And with
Hmm.
hockey, you're right. Like I've really gained a love for the sport and I love, really been enjoying collecting the cards. But I also have guys that I really like Jason Robertson or like Ovechkin, those guys,
Hmm.
or certain
Right.
types of cards like the clear cut young guns or and metal universe ones or whatever,
Hmm.
but it allows me to maybe dabble into taking a chance at a guy, like, picking him up and just seeing what I can do with it. And, I'm not, I don't know if I'm going to sell it or not because I got a good deal on it and not everything I'm looking to sell. But I was kind of surprised. I paid $60 for a Kirby Doc exclusive young gun. And I noticed on eBay, because I was trying to see what Kirby Doc was doing. He moved, he's in Montreal now, and I noticed one recently sold for $450, and I was like, "Well, I guess that was
Wow.
a W." So,
Right.
I'm not rushing to put it on eBay or anything like that. I'll likely keep that in my collection, but again, it was a W, right? I found
Sure.
opportunity there, and
Right.
if I chose to sell it, there's opportunity, and,
Right.
you
See, that's
you can
for me.
find that.
Yeah, for me, I'm kind of the same way, because I can wholeheartedly tell you, in the 2 million plus cards that I have, total, I probably have less than 50,000 hockey cards, and I don't collect hockey at all. But of course, anytime I buy collections, I always strip all inserts, parallels, all that kind of good stuff, and I hold it no matter what, because I just hoard that stuff, because I've always liked inserts and parallels and all that kind of stuff. So, but besides having like Gretzky, everyone else, well, Gretzky and Lemieux, that's all I really held on to. I've got two Gretzky O-Pee-Chee rookies that are beautiful, but everything else, and I have one O-Pee-Chee Lemieux and one Tops. But everything else is all parallels of just inserts like 90s stuff. But I,
And there's a lot of cool stuff in there.
yeah, and I can truly tell you, I know nothing about hockey at all. But I stripped all those because, of course, I like that era of that stuff. And I've
Mhm.
always held on to it. So, I mean, even
Well,
so, like for me, if I was truly vested in it and I was like, oh my God, I love hockey, I could tell you down to a T, how many first day productions, how many, net minders I have, this and that. I could, behind the glass, I could, tell you everything. But truthfully, because I'm not vested in the hockey scene at all, I couldn't tell you. I know I can tell you I have at least 50,000 plus inserts of hockey stuff. I know that because it's tucked away on a shelf and it's sitting there. And when I go look at it is when somebody begs me and says, "Hey Alex, I know you don't have hockey. Sometimes you may come across it, but this is what I'm looking for." And then I'll go ahead and just dig in those boxes and hopefully I can find, what they're looking for. Otherwise, I care less. It just sits there.
yeah, I mean, we got into it. I think it was in 2019. It might have been 2020. I can't remember. No, it was February of 2020, I believe. I bought my first hockey card, which I bought an Alex Ovechkin Young Gun. And then after that, I bought a Topps Gretzky rookie. And then we found some blasters or something like at Walmart one day, and we just bought a couple of them to have some fun. And we hit a couple young guns, a young gun canvas and stuff, and it was on from there. And then I started watching the games, and the missus like she'll sit down and watch games with me sometimes. And the thing that really got me into it now is DirecTV has like the Sunday ticket, MLB has the season thing and all that, but
Mhm.
those are pretty expensive. But I can get ESPN Plus, Disney Plus, which the missus loves, and Hulu, and it costs me like 13.99 or something a month,
Mhm.
and I get every hockey game,
Oh,
unless
that's
it's
cool.
blacked out or like on national TV. I can sit
Yeah,
here and stream it all right here and sit here and watch all the games. And I've been having a blast. Like I don't know. It's such a awesome sport to watch, so much action and everything.
sure. Don't
Um
you don't you think that it's also based on your enjoyment of hockey is because of all the reveals and everything and all the cards that get subbed to you, you get to see them, and then it also entices you to educate yourself a little bit more on the actual sport and take a
well,
dip into it.
actually, there's not a ton of hockey that gets subbed. Like hockey
Mhm.
is way low in terms. And to be honest, some people that have subbed hockey subbed it
Mhm.
because they've seen hockey that I've sent. So
Oh, really?
that's kind of a cool
Wow.
thing too, because I have people like asking me, and I always like to tell them, look, I'm not a pro, but I love the sport. Like
Yeah.
I've started what me and the missus, she's actually already asked me if we could go to a game. I think it was in December, November or December, I can't remember.
Mhm.
Um, but she's already asked, like, she wants to go up and watch. I think it was the Capitals and Kraken. I think is the game she talked about. But
That'd be a
yeah,
good game.
yeah. I mean, she's taken a liking to the Kraken. She likes their colors. She likes that it's an octopus, and
Mhm.
so
I,
yeah,
I
she
heard
found
that.
a team she likes. And obviously, the Capitals are the home team, so we do
Yeah.
root for them. I follow the Dallas Stars, but anyway, we're getting into this, just talking hockey here, and we're gonna bore folks, but it was more about the impact of collecting and the opportunities out there. There is opportunity still.
Sure.
If you're willing to dig in and do the work and not just go hyper focused on the common ground or like what everybody's talking about, and you carve a path for yourself and you go out and actually put your boots on, throw some camouflage on, and go hunting, you can find opportunities. There is still even in a down market, you're gonna find opportunities.
Yep.
But the thing is you're not gonna go to Staples. You're not going to Staples to get those opportunities anymore. That easy button, that's gone.
Yeah.
You got to get dirty now. You got to go out and
Yep.
hunt, but you can find those opportunities. And I'll tell you, and many other people I know will confirm to this. I know you will confirm to this. You will not only appreciate it more, but you will actually have a lot more fun, and you'll start enjoying that hunt, because when you're hunting and you get rewarded, it makes being rewarded even that much better. Like,
Yes,
it's
sir.
easy to buy a card and flip it when things are all, rainbows and unicorns. But
Hmm.
when you get that accomplishment of hunting and finding a deal and being able to, you know, get that trophy, it's going to mean so much more to you. And then you're going to be hooked on the hunt. So, that's
Yeah.
just something to think about for folks out there. If you're wondering what direction to go, if you're into that dealer flipper mode or whatever, and you're like, the hobby sucks. I can't make no
Nah.
money on it. You can still do it. You just gotta you
Yeah.
gotta get a little dirty. Gotta get your fingernails dirty, put your boots
Yep.
on, go out and hunt. So
And anything that
I know
comes
you
easy is not worth it anyway. So
that's right. It gets boring, honestly.
it
I
does.
mean,
Yeah, it does.
if all it is buy today, sell tomorrow, eventually that gets boring.
It does.
So, but yeah, I mean, overall, I hope folks. I'm not here to tell anyone to do anything any certain way.
No.
I'm not
Yeah.
here to tell
No.
anybody to be happy. Um, but it is getting kind of rough. Like, the
Yeah.
battles out there, and
It's chippy. It's real chippy out there. That's why I always tell
yeah,
you, I just stay neutral and I just sit there and just watch, because it's real easy to sit there and just come down on somebody, but and it's real easy to sit there and start calling somebody whatever you want to call them. But I mean, what good is that really going to do? You know, I mean,
did
we all know the true old school people that are in this hobby for a long time know the dirty people in this hobby, and we just stay away from them. And it's not that okay, yeah, we're in a new world and everybody has to be called out on everything, but you got to use a little bit of common sense. A little common sense will tell you, hey, that person's probably not the best person to be taking advice from, or probably not the best person that I want to deal with in general. So you just don't. There's plenty of great people in this hobby.
yeah, and I mean, if you don't, the one way to make sure that you're not involved or dealing with anybody that you don't want to, you can do things. I mean, it's not gonna be as fun, don't get me wrong, like, the friendships and the people are the passion of it, but, like, you can still do this hobby without, like, by yourself. I mean, so,
Hmm.
I don't know. I think this all happened real quick too. Like, I don't
Yeah,
remember so much of this, like, before the
backbiting.
national.
No, right. That's true. It wasn't. But I
And
mean, it's all headlines, and it's unfortunate. I mean, yes, there's things that have to be called out, but again, if you don't know what's legitimately going on in the hobby and you suspect something, speak to somebody who's long tooth into the hobby. Let them give you some advice, and it's not that you have to listen to them and take that advice, but hear another side of a story instead of just assuming whatever's being thrown out at you to be all truth. And it's just, I don't know. I'm not a negative person, so for me it's just silly. It makes no
yeah,
sense to me.
I was just curious because, like, maybe I was ignoring it, or maybe the lead up and the excitement of, like, the national coming, I didn't notice it as much. But I was just sitting here thinking, and I was like, and all this stuff happened so quick too, because we're only a couple months removed from it, and
Well,
it's like,
you gotta remember, just before the national, we were basically saying, "Hey, what's the market going to be doing?" Because it was already starting to take that tailspin. We were already starting that kind of soft market, and but the dealers, of course, were still stuck on their numbers.
I don't know. You've known me now for over 2 years, and you've seen I've never been like the chart and graph guy. I like to it's a joke, but it's also some truth to it. One reason I do cardboard is because I don't like the stock market. So I do
Hmm.
cardboard.
Hmm.
And I don't look at cardboard as like the stock market. So yeah, we use the terminology of markets and this, that, and the other, but at the same time, I look at like it's always like Beckett back in the 90s had up arrows and down arrows, right? We've
Yep.
known for years and years and years that cards go up, cards go down, you know, things shift, change, whatever. There's hot lists, cold lists, whatever. I always like to look at the player, like how is a player performing? How is their team performing? How do people like this set or that set or this insert or that insert or whatever?
Hmm.
I don't really dictate my buys or sells or anything else off of, I guess, the overall picture of quote unquote air quotes for all the listeners out there, the market. Um, I just kind of do it as cardboard and the players and the sport and the time of year and all that kind of thing. So maybe things are changed. Maybe I need to get like the Nasdaq report on sports cards. But if it ever gets to that, I might would have to quit because
Hmm.
like I legit do cardboard because I don't like stocks. So, but
You know,
anyway,
I had a friend of mine who always and I know you remember, because he had passed away here, and he was a good friend of mine, and we used to travel to shows together all the time, and I would take him on the road with me to go do buys and all that stuff. I could never get him like legitimately into cards again after he gave up his collection as a kid. He always said, "Well, I'll just live through your collection." So I, there's a lot of people out there that enjoy sports, but they just don't want to dive into sports cards, and that's okay also. But the more that we can actually get into this hobby to sticking with it as a hobby, the better off the hobby is going to be.
right? Yeah, I mean, I just hope that people don't get. And again, I'm not sitting here telling everybody to be happy and that everything's rainbows, unicorns, and all that. That's not my place because people could be dealing with other things in life that's got them down. I don't know,
Hmm.
but at the same time, we have to give the people a reason to like have fun, to stay. You know, and if if you do just constantly hear, if people do just constantly hear bad things, then really, why would they want to stay?
Hmm.
There's so
Or
much
really,
to this. Like if you break
or
it into just like what it is and the hobby itself, and
hmm.
that's another thing that I think we generalize too much is saying the hobby,
Hmm.
because if you do it as a hobby, it can be fun in pretty much any circumstance, right? It's all
Yeah,
dependent on how you choose to do it and what makes you happy and that you have fun with.
until you go to move it, then you're unhappy.
Well, my point is, if you are doing it as a hobby, like
Yeah.
if you got 30 minutes a day that you want to de-stress and you want to come home and enjoy your sports cards, and that's all you care about with them, like you're not too terribly worried about the market, you're
Hmm.
wanting to do a hobby, like no different than if you came home and crocheted a quilt, right?
Yeah.
But instead you're doing sports cards.
Okay. Yeah.
You're going to find a way to be happy doing it your way. You're not
Absolutely.
going to worry about if the Jordan is selling for $700,000. You're not going to worry about if, you know, Marvel PMGs lost 90 some percent, because you're going to do things the way that's making you happy for
Sure.
30 minutes or an hour or whatever after you get off work and have dinner and take a shower, whatever. Your decompressed time, that's what you get enjoyment out of. The other stuff that happens is going to happen no matter what. But if it's making you happy, then that is you doing it as a hobby. I think we
Hmm.
just throw everything in there, the investors and everything else, and just call it the hobby. And it's like a mixture of unknown at this point. We don't know what the hell we're going to get today, tomorrow, or next week. But that is why sports cards are wonderful as the hobby. So, um, anyway, I think it's, I just hope. I'm not saying it's going to get back to rainbows and unicorns, but I do hope people would chill a little bit and just start having fun. Like, there's great people that collect sports cards or even non-sports or whatever,
Hmm.
there's so many great people out there that do this. So many people that are willing to help each other or talk about it or make friends or, share collections and stories and information or whatever. Um, if you take the good out of it, and I'm not going to say you'll be able to ignore all the bad, but if you really take the good away from it, I think a lot of people can have a lot of fun. So,
Yeah, for me, here's the biggest thing, and this is the biggest diffuser for me. All I do when I walk in to a children's hospital and I see a kid's face, everything else doesn't matter. So if people would just focus on something else, all the nonsense that's going on in the sports card market wouldn't matter to them. It just really would.
yeah, I don't. It's definitely become a big thing.
Yeah, yeah.
We've been sitting here talking about it now for 40 minutes almost for the majority of this episode, and um,
Yeah,
really,
and
the
we
moral to this
shouldn't be.
episode is, you know, find what makes you happy. We're not here to tell you how to do this. We're not here to tell you what to do, what not to do, anything like that. We just want everybody out there, if you're listening, to just step back a minute, step back away from the noise, look at your cards, look at your collection, look at your inventory. If you're a dealer or a flipper, look at your inventory and find what makes you happy and stick with that. Keep going towards that. Like, and I know it's easy to say, but like tone down the noise a little bit and just step back and take a breather and just find what makes you happy. Without us telling you which direction to go, without us telling you what you should be or shouldn't be doing, step back and find what you want to do. Because
Hmm.
like if you can be happy in this, it's an amazing hobby. So
It's been a great run for me. I mean, I the only downs that I have and have had in this hobby is moving my collection. That's it. Anytime that I moved a collection, I hated my collection for a few hours or a few days, or a week, like this last time that I did it. Otherwise, there's nothing been negative about about my collection. I love it all. It's mine.
you know, I never thought of this. Do you know every single refractor you have?
Yeah, because I've touched every single one, and I've
What?
you know I've touched them numerous times.
So you can 100% confirm to me that you don't have the Michael Taylor Superfractor.
100% I can. Yeah, because I have about under 500 superfractors.
Okay.
So, but I
I
can
just wanted to make
100%
sure because that,
trust me.
that that never dawned on me. I'm like, I wonder if he happened to have gotten it somewhere and
No,
just
no way.
didn't
No,
pay any attention or
because
realize he had it sitting there. Because that would be
no,
very heartbreaking. Because that's the card that has eluded me.
I would have already given it to you.
Man, seriously, I know it seems silly. Like I have not seen the autographed or the non-auto version. I haven't seen a 2013 one. Um, and that's a card that has eluded me. We are at the almost 45-minute mark. I'm going to give him a couple minutes just so all the listeners know. I think Refractor, his phone might have died. He told me when we started he didn't have much battery. So, anyway, I hope you guys have enjoyed this episode. Clearly, we just wanted to talk about a few things. Shout out to Mike, the pet peeve topic. You know, it it's a negative topic because you're saying what is your pet peeve, but at the same time, there's a lot of good and fun pet peeves as well. Like I said, if I had to say like what if I wanted to specifically say a pet peeve, I don't like tape on a top loader. Many people would say, "Oh, you're stupid. I like to, I like to tape on there." I don't like it, and that's just a personal preference, and that's why pet peeves are personal opinions. So, there's not. I'm not saying it's right, wrong. I'm not saying you don't have to tape yours or whatever. That's just a personal thing for me. So, um, and there's some other things out there. I do wish folks could get back to having fun. Uh, we all suffer down terms or, sadness or anger or whatever in our lives. And the people in this hobby and the cards and the collecting and the hunt and all of that stuff, it can be very, very fun. And it can kind of, you know, decompress or take some of that stress and everything away if we allow it to. Um, So hopefully soon things will turn and people will start being happy again. Um, but anyway, I am going to go ahead and cut it here so I can get this edited and uploaded. But Refractor, I'm sure he will say thank you. I will say thank you on his behalf. And as always, guys, we hope you have a wonderful weekend. We appreciate all of you for tuning in. And uh, that's it. Until Monday's episode, thank you.